The kids will have to make it on their own. Some of the world's most high-profile billionaires, including Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, and Bill and Melinda Gates, saying their children won't inherit their vast piles of wealth. Instead, they plan to donate their fortunes to charity and want to teach their kids the value of hard work. And it's not just the ultra-rich, some celebrities wanting to do the same. A longtime financial planner saying this: "What I've seen from other parents is that they don't want to provide too much money that they take away their child's sense of purpose. If you leave hundreds and millions of dollars to a child, there is a potential they won't have work ethic and will sit around living off the money. That's not healthy. Most people need to work to feel fulfillment in life." David, I agree with the sentiment. However, when I leave this earth, the person best positioned to decide which charities my money should go to me, is my child, who has my values that I've instilled in them.
This is by and large a conversation that the elite of the elite have with one another. True. Only 3% of Americans get more than $1 million from their parents. Most of us have to work really hard our entire lives to get what we achieve in this life. Now, Joe Biden and AOC and the squad may take care of that if they continue to raise taxes as they seek to do on Americans. They may wipe out a lot of wealth. All of that to say the great irony here is for these elites who are talking about giving instead their money to charity instead of to their kids, they're ultimately giving it to progressive groups that are doing the very things that are going to make it impossible for their kids to have a good life, which is a great irony here, instead of just giving it to their kids and letting them prosper.
Yeah, Julian, Warren Buffett, though, he does make a good point in explaining his rationale. He said he wants to leave his kids, quote, just enough so that they feel they could do anything, but not so much that they feel like doing nothing.
I think I could get on board with that. I'm thinking about this and hypothetically, if I was a billionaire, what would I do? Which is what would I do if I was like a ferret? But I think I'd come out somewhere reasonable in the middle, like Warren Buffett, because now having a daughter, it's very hard to think, well, if I had this money, I could conceivably say to her, you know what, I'm not going to make sure that you and your children are okay for the rest of your lives. I'm going to give everything to charity. That seems a little bit harsh. At the same time, I grew up in New York City. I have seen the perils firsthand of children that are, that are exposed to an overabundance of privilege from day one. It usually backfires. It usually hurts them. Warren Buffett is right about that. Tell me a family that is happier because they are wealthy. Show me a child that grew up who didn't have to work and decided not to work and is actually a better, happier adult as a result of it. I've not really seen that. So I think it's probably look, if you're a billionaire and you're in this position, it is a good problem to have. But I don't envy them in that sense.
Yeah, it's a good point. Kennedy, will you be giving your vast billions to your children?
Man, I got to get the vast billions first, and I'm really excited about that. Once I get the vast billions, I'm just going to sit around and look at it for a while, and then, I'll probably think about it. I'll probably say, no, I'm keeping my vast billions, and then I'm giving my vast billions to the French Bulldog Rescue Association of the universe.
Yes.
But then at the last minute, I'm gonna cave and buy them each a golden rocket ship, and hopefully from your lips to God's ears, that happens. I do like the fact that there is more investment in private charity. I think that's a much better direction for human beings to go in than a concentration of wealth in centralized government. So I don't have a problem with that. And with Bill and Melinda Gates and their divorce, I bet Bill Gates was the one who was like, the kids aren't going to get anybody. I'll give each of them $5 million and that's it. And now that they're split, Melinda's like, oh yeah, well guess what? You can have all your dad's billions. What? So I think they're probably going to amend that clause.
So I was actually thinking about that in the midst of the divorce. Bill Gates worth about $130 billion. There was reporting back in 2011 that he was going to give his kids, again, it's just reporting, who knows, $10 million each. That's quite a sum. I mean, I think I could live with that if my dad's like, here's $10 million.
Totally. I think I could retire comfortably on that amount right now. I will say that to Julian's point, yeah, to me, fulfillment and happiness comes from a sense of purpose. It comes from family values and feeling connected with others. And that's true and unrelated from wealth or money. And I think if I had vast billions, I would honor the fact that I'm living in this society where education and travel is possible. So I think I would want to, I mean, I'm saying this now, I could change my mind, but I would want to treat my children to the education that they could have access to travel so that they see the realities of the world and so that they are exposed to other cultures and needs throughout the world and that they could use their education for good. And I agree that a little amount is healthy and definitely too much, as we've talked about before, can be cruel. And what is the saying? It takes a lifetime, to create wealth and a generation to destroy it. So absolutely, I think the best thing you can do is to instill in your children a sense of responsibility and responsibility itself, and not just numbers.
The millions and billions don't matter. At the end of the day, it's all about faith and family.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.